What I appreciate about this event is it's focused on that problem, that singular problem of access to finance and scaling access to finance for agriculture and agribusiness. It's focused on the private sector. It's focused on the problem of finance and on finding innovative solutions to that problem. Though, from my perspective, it's not so much about innovations in agriculture, it's about innovations in the way we unlock financing.
Okay.
There are, as I said earlier, and I think everyone in this room would agree, enormous opportunities with promising businesses that are making profit today, that are growing, that are creating jobs, but many of them are not able to access finance. And so our solution, our contribution to the marketplace is, first of all, selecting the companies that we think are really ready, are close to ready, that they have a business model, they're working in a value chain, they have the leadership, the governance necessary in order to attract an investor. And then basically we just help them find the right investor.
Bonsoir, good day. So we are still here in Abidjan, still having conversations around financing agribusiness in Africa. And I have with me in the studios Mr. John, and we are going to have a conversation about his experience with the event so far. We'll also delve into talking about what his company does, what he's doing to also influence the agricultural sector. So I'm just going to pan it to my guest to introduce himself, then we'll start the conversation. Mr. John, welcome to the Africa Discourse channel.
Bonjour, good afternoon. My name is John Scicchitano. I'm a partner at Pangea Global Ventures. Pangea's role is to facilitate investment. So we provide advisory services to African enterprises, and we match their capital needs with those of capital providers, finding the right kind of capital, the right size, the right sector to meet the needs of the entrepreneur.
Okay, great. So I'm just going to be more specific. What does your role involve, like specifically when it comes to the agricultural industry? How does your role play, like your profession play a role in the agri industry regarding your organization?
Well, Pangea actually focuses primarily on food and agriculture. That's the sector we focus largely on because we see it's an enormous opportunity. As was said in the discussion today, agriculture employs 60 to 70% of the population, but it's also a huge driver of economic growth. And you can look at so many value chains, whether it's fruit like pineapple or mango, whether it's cereals like maize or sorghum, whether it's pulses like soybean or groundnut. There are so many opportunities for investment, even in food systems like, for example, refrigeration or irrigation or agricultural inputs. The opportunities are enormous. They all need investment. They all need capital. And so that's the role we play, is trying to bring capital to the actors who can generate positive returns, both economic and social.
Okay, great. I would want us to we'll circle back to the conversation on capital and finance, but I just want to get your take on what your experience has been with the event so far, from like the beginning, from the introduction to the panel discussions. What has been some of the key takeaways for you?
Sure. Well, what I appreciate about this event is it's focused on that problem, that singular problem of access to finance and scaling access to finance for agriculture and agribusiness. It's focused on the private sector. It's focused on the problem of finance and on finding innovative solutions to that problem. So that's what I really appreciated about this. And the various interventions were very rich in exchange and ideas from different banking institutions in particular, different development partners, each contributing to their thought on how we can unlock more financing for agribusinesses in Africa.
Okay, thank you so much. So like I mentioned, I wanted to circle back to finance. So going into the sector, what do you think has been some of like our biggest challenge of why like there's been like the financial gap in the agricultural sector in Africa especially? Because we see like in Europe, in America, a lot of farmers or people in the agricultural business are making money, their businesses are booming, but we don't see that happening in Africa.
Sure. Well, we can always look at it from the perspective of supply of capital and demand for capital. And there's need for innovation on both sides. Obviously, the markets are not quite as developed as they are in some developing countries. And so we need to work on both sides to make sure that the financial instruments are available and suitable for the companies. but on the other hand, that the companies are prepared and ready to take on this capital. And we both are important. We tend to focus more on the demand side. So are the companies ready? Do they have the documentation in place? Are they communicating effectively to the capital providers to enable them to succeed in attracting that investment?
All right, great. So, Pangea as an investment company, right? Have you seen any solutions or innovations around agriculture in Africa that has sparked your interest that you probably want to shed light on or would want to invest in?
Yes. Though, from my perspective, it's not so much about innovations in agriculture. It's about innovations in the way we unlock financing.
Okay.
There are, as I said earlier, and I think everyone in this room would agree, enormous opportunities with promising businesses that are making profit today, that are growing, that are creating jobs, but many of them are not able to access finance. And so our solution, our contribution to the marketplace is, first of all, selecting the companies that we think are really ready, are close to ready, that they have a business model, they're working in a value chain, they have the leadership, the governance necessary in order to attract an investor. And then basically we just help them find the right investor. In many cases, as I said, the companies are attractive, but finding the right kind of capital to meet their needs is a challenge. And companies often can't do it on their own. They need help. And that's where Pangea comes in.
All right, great. So it looks like your company works on more of collaborations, partnerships. Have there been any like collaborations or partnerships you've worked with in the past? What are you looking forward to doing to be able to expand? Like you mentioned, you want to expand into Ivory Coast. What is the plan for that?
Sure. Yes. So we do work in partnerships, and our first partners are agribusinesses themselves. Our second partners are the capital providers, but the third partners are very important, and those are the development partners in most cases, those who will help us do that work, because the work is challenging and there's costs involved in doing that work of investment facilitation. And that's what we hope to find here in Cote d'Ivoire if we're able to extend our services to Cote d'Ivoire. I'll give you one example. In Ghana, for example, we work with British International Investment, known as BII. They have a program called the Ghana Investment Support Program. So this activity basically works to facilitate transactions between various funds, including those that have been invested in by BII and enterprises. And Pangea plays a critical role in building pipeline of promising companies and providing advisory services to those companies that will enable an investment to happen. If we could find such a partner in Cote d'Ivoire, we would be here. We're just next door in Ghana.
I hope the partner is watching and would reach out to you soon. Okay, so I'm just gonna go into like a future outlook. What do you think? You've worked in the African market for a while and you've seen how agribusiness has transformed over time. What do you think the future outlook for like agribusiness finance in Africa would look like, probably in the next year, 2 years, 3 years?
Sure. I see that we're working hard at this problem of unlocking finance, and we're seeing innovations and we're seeing success. And for us, it has to be results oriented. We need to see, number one, capital being deployed, and number two, that capital resulting in growth and impact. And we're seeing that today. I can give you a few examples. For example, in Senegal, we worked with a company called Esteval, which is in the fruit juice and fruit transformation activity. So they received an investment, are growing, are creating jobs, are having an impact on the economy of Senegal. In Ghana, just last week, there was an announcement about an investment in Maraseth Farms. Maraseth is a women-owned enterprise. Just a few years ago, it was quite small, but has recently, with support from Pangea, unlocked over $1 million of financing to work with today 9,255 smallholder farmers. So these are the kinds of examples that will create a virtuous cycle, and different capital providers and different development partners will see that these kinds of investments are unlocking not only economic growth, but also social impact. Think of the impact of those 9,255 farmers that are being supported by Maraseth Farms. And we can do that over and over and over again. That's really the mission of Pangea, but also I think many in this room will see the same objective and invest their efforts in creating such results.
Okay, so this is my last question. I don't want to keep you for too long. you've worked in the investment space. So if you had to give an advice to policymakers, people in investment, on what some of the things they can do to be able to help grow the agri sector, because we had conversations where we spoke about we have the $65 billion gap in the agribusiness, and we need support from policymakers. We need help from investors to be able to do that. So what's one piece of advice you would share?
Can I give two?
As many as you
Just
want.
two. I'll be brief. The first regards this gap of $65 billion. Now, when I hear this number, it's true that there's a huge gap, but that number is not really concrete until we have businesses that are investment ready or bankable that present investment needs of that amount. So let's start with those who really can take that investment and put it to work. Let's not talk about a theoretical financing gap, but actually build a pipeline of promising companies with strong leadership, with good traction, with a good business plan, at least if it's not all in writing, at least a good plan to grow their business. So that's number one, pipeline on the enterprise side. Number two, on the capital side, let's look beyond just financial institutions. It's true that financial institutions have a very great importance in terms of unlocking capital. And we do work with financial institutions. Mariseth Farms, for example, had an investment from Absa Bank. But we can look beyond to other kinds of impact investors in particular, those who intentionally want to see social, environmental impact. These investors often have concessionary terms. They're more patient than other investors, and they're willing to take on more risk. So one of Pangea's goals in working with partners is to encourage and court and attract these impact investors to places like Cote d'Ivoire or Ghana or Senegal. And I believe if we can attract those capital providers, we can unlock financing, and the banks will, of course, come along. But these are catalytic capital providers that are very important to unlock results in investment and growth.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. John. I think today a lot of the speakers that came here have spoken about bankability, how startups or businesses need to be bankable to get investment, because it's not always about chasing the money. You need to be able to show that you are sustainable, and then they get like returns on whatever money they put into your business. Thank you so much. I just want you to share your last words to whatever you've experienced today, your last words, whether it's being on the theme or any other thing you want us to know about yourself and your organization to our audience.
Sure. Well, first of all, I'll say that Pangea is ourselves a young business, but demonstrating impact, demonstrating results, and we're eager to partner, whether it's in Cote d'Ivoire or in other countries, with development partners who seek to unlock financing and produce measurable, sustainable social and environmental impacts. Secondly, the private sector. We that are in this room understand the power of the private sector, the engine of economic growth, the motor of job creation. And so we need more effort to boost the private sector, not with grants and necessarily even capacity building, but supporting them to bring capital that will enable them to grow their business and expand their impact.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. John, for spending time with us and sharing this wonderful piece of knowledge and information. So guys, we had Mr. John from Pangea. He's a managing director, and they are in different countries across Africa: Ghana, Senegal, sorry if I missed
Sierra Leone,
and then they are looking forward to coming into Cote d'Ivoire soon to do business. Thank you so much, and do well to like, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next episode. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.